Hi, good morning. It's Tuesday now, and I am feeling a little bit better than yesterday, health-wise. Um, I'm wondering if I need to stop drinking milk. I don't really have anything today, anything right now, but because I just want to chat for a moment, I thought I would just read off the list of upcoming films at the New Beverly. I just went last night and I had a pretty good time seeing ABBA the movie and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Um, Both ridiculous and just not really great, but have really interesting things going on in them that are commenting on the music industry, on capitalism, and everything that I think would be better handled in the 2001 film Josie and the Pussycats. They just started November. It's November now. It's already November. It's like starting to feel like November finally, kind of. The weather's better. I just like my brain is just like at this point it's like, do I even know what fall is? Have I ever known what fall is that just something that's like always just been like a subliminal like message in the back of my head, like of what fall feels like? I don't know, but the weather's making it feel nicer to be alive. So last Sunday they played Al Pacino Serpico, Sidney Lumet, which I just finished reading his book, Making Movies, and it's a book that I put off for a long time. I started reading like 3 years ago, and I just got around to it, and I finished it, and really just I feel like all like film books. I really haven't read that many, but I know just I always prefer reading them when they're not in like a textbook form, and I know that's like what everybody likes to like tell you to read if you're trying to like read books about film. But I feel like reading it through a lens of like a textbook is just like one step further from being in film school. So like I just really appreciate the biography approach, and I think by making it personal and adding your lens through all the different uh, processes of filmmaking and getting it from start to finish, I think that's extremely insightful and motivating. So I was really moved. So yeah, in yesterday they did the ABBA and Sgt. Pepper deal, and yeah, like I don't know if I could say if I could ever fully recommend like both of those movies. I mean, the ABBA thing, like I was hoping that like since I was never like a huge Mamma Mia guy, that like this would be the thing that like really like pushed me to like love ABBA, but instead I feel like it just kind of did like the opposite because of like how like far away they kind of seemed throughout all of it, and just how like bland the concert footage was that just like was over and over and over again. Like there wasn't like I was expecting something like Can't Stop the Music, where you have the band in kind of a self-referential manner doing things very like a la A Hard Day's Night, of just them being themselves and going around, and maybe at that point in the late 70s they were already aware of that trope and wanted to avoid it, as in case for the next movie that would play after that. But there was just still like a lack of personality in the film besides its protagonist, this Australian reporter guy who was just trying to get that sweet interview. Starting today through the 7th, they're playing Pulp Fiction, the 30th anniversary print, which, if you haven't already seen it at the Vista or wherever, it is like, it completely rejuvenated my love for that movie, which wasn't even there in the first place. I liked Pulp Fiction when I first saw it when I was like 13, but like I couldn't appreciate it as much as I could have now, seeing it finally on film, finally in a theater, finally with people. It was a joyous experience. It's hilarious. It's so uh, almost just enraging that like this is 30 years old. And um, I just remember there was a time when people were really at conflict whether or not this is one of the greatest films of all time, because recency, but also just like with how innovative it was with its storytelling and mixed interwoven plot lines. And yeah, I think now it's so clearly past the point of whether or not it's a question of it being a masterpiece. It is. Um, and on November 8th through the 10th, they're doing a Robert Walker double feature of Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train and The Clock with Judy Garland. I haven't seen The Clock, but Strangers on a Train is very essential Hitchcock, and but it's also just like, if you've never seen a Hitchcock, it's also just a really fun movie. It like I watched it on TCM a couple years ago, and I didn't even know that it was going to be on. But I was hooked. I was it and yeah, just if you like Judy Garland, maybe you'd want to see The Clock, which I just haven't seen enough of hers. I'm like really wanting to see A Star Is Born because of the song The Man That Got Away. Jeff Buckley does a beautiful, beautiful version of that song, and I like just feel like I need to be aware of the full context now, of where that came from. On November 11th through 12th, they're doing like the funniest titled double feature. They're doing Cuckoo, the Hunter Schafer movie thriller thing from a few months ago, billed with Dario Argento's Creepers. On November 13th through 14th, they're doing a double feature for a filmmaker who don't believe I've seen any of her work, Nicole Holof Center. It's like I'm trying to say Holof Center, but there's no T. So, cool name. It's just taking me a second to get used to the pronunciation. But they're doing two of hers with both of them starring Catherine Keener, which is kind of intriguing for me personally. They're doing Walking and Talking and another one called Lovely and Amazing. So both titles with two, well, one of them are verbs, the other ones are adjectives, but they're paired nicely. And if you like verbs and adjectives, I think you're really gonna be jazzed with Walking and Talking and Lovely and Amazing. And on November 15th through the 17th, they will be doing a Chris Christopherson double feature in memoriam of the late performer, who is starring first in Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, which I've been meaning to get to for so long. There was that 4K that came out earlier this year on Criterion, and like that looked really cool. And is that the one where Bob Dylan does the soundtrack? I don't know off the top of my head, but I have a feeling that he's involved in that. And then the other one is Cisco Pike, which has Gene Hackman, and has a very early Chris Christopherson role. I've never heard of Cisco Pike, but Cisco, if you know Texas, is like an hour and a half from like Fort Worth, and it's a hell of a place, Cisco, Texas. On November 18th, I think this is the one that I'm actually kind of wanting to go to the most. It's a Max Mock Hong Kong double of Hero of Tomorrow plus Blood Call. I don't know either of these. I don't know Max Mock. I know Hong Kong. I know great Hong Kong cinema. So I think this is kind of right up my alley. On November 18th, on the 19th through the 20th, there's a Paul Newman thing called Sweet Bird of Youth, which they played a preview for last night. and it looks great. I think it's a Tennessee Williams adaptation, and it's part of a Geraldine Page double feature with Sweet Bird of Youth and Summer and Smoke with Lawrence Harvey. On November 21st through the 22nd, they are doing a Fay Ray and Michael Cortez double feature of The Mystery of the Wax Museum and Dr. X. I don't know if I'm really ever in a rush to watch all of the Cortez studio features because there's just so many of them, and like I feel like I've seen a good amount, but November 23rd to 24th, they're doing a John Hughes double feature, but it's not the ones that you would immediately come to mind. I think it's the ones that he wrote, Pretty in Pink. Okay, yeah. Howard Dutch directed Pretty in Pink, as well as Some Kind of Wonderful, the other thing that they're playing. I believe John Hughes wrote both of these. So my mom really likes Pretty in Pink, and I've never seen it, so like that kind of factor really entices me to go to this. But on November 26th through the 27th, they're doing a pretty cool double feature for American Movie and Hands on a Hard Body, which, if you know Hands on a Hard Body, it's mostly probably because of the Jimmy Fallon clip. At least that's how I came to know about it, of the interview between Jimmy Fallon and Tarantino talking about this random movie that apparently like everybody loves, and I've been trying to see it forever. And the deal is, I just saw American Movie earlier in Austin, back like in January, and like I really want to see Hands on a Hard Body, but I'm like, do I really want to go to both of those? Do I just like buy a ticket and then just skip out on the first one? Do people do that? I feel like it's more like the other way around, where you would go see the first one and then leave for the second one. There were a lot of people that left for Sergeant Pepper, and I thought it was really funny because it gave me more room to look at the screen. But on November 28th, they're doing the Peter Jackson King Kong, and I have never seen that all the way through. And I like Naomi Watts. I like early 2000s Jack Black, especially since it's being presented on 35. I don't really know whenever else I'm gonna get this chance to see this movie then, because I just remember like as a kid, like this was a really big deal when this movie came out. The promotion was really great. It was just, I just remember like just always feeling so small compared to like the posters of Kong, and it made him seem so big to a child. And yeah, kind of a special one, honestly. And I haven't even seen it, but November 29th through the 30th, they're doing Kiki's Delivery Service with The Secret of Nim, and like that's like probably the best thing that they have on this entire thing. Kiki's Delivery Service is like maybe my second favorite Ghibli, and Secret of Nim I haven't seen since like elementary school, but I remember being really sad and scared and curious watching that. So very well laid out animated double feature at the end of November, which is like always the best time to see movies. I don't know if that's just me. I know everybody loves going to see movies on Christmas Day and around the holiday season. I love that too, but I always feel like I get a little bit more stressed out because I'm trying to like finish up everything that I'm trying to see, like that has come out in the year, so that I can like have my thoughts on the year and what my opinions are on the best and worst. But like around Thanksgiving time, I'm not like as worried about that, and I can still feel excited going to movies like this, and enjoying it with people, enjoying it by myself, enjoying it all around. It's great. It's great. I really needed this last night after yesterday's video, and I'm not trying to be like an ad. They're not paying me. Nobody's telling me to like talk about this. I think it's cool. I don't think there's like a whole lot of other places like this. in the world, there's places like this here. There's plenty of places like this here we can go, but it's just different when you're talking to other people who don't have this great immediate access to all this stuff on film all the time. Looking at the back now, I'm realizing that like the two things that I actually want to see the most out of this month are like both like on the non-regular schedule. One of their midnights is on November 16th for Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. It's with Lindsay Lohan, and I've never seen this, and I think Megan Fox is in this. The other thing is Shrek. Shrek on November 9th through the 10th, which I don't know if I'll be going to this, but I think at some point I'd really like to see Shrek on film, because I don't know, I think that when I think of Shrek, when I really think of Shrek, I just really think about Houston and San Antonio, and like going to my aunt's house back in the day and seeing her family and visiting them, and um, they were like way more media savvy. I just remember uh, like Shrek 2 being on a lot, and like their DVD collection I was always like so like hypnotized by every single time I was there. And like I yeah, just like Shrek was a big part of all that early DreamWorks Shrek nostalgia for you right there, if you were needing that today. um but yeah, I mean that's like everything that's playing there this month. It's going to be a pretty good deal. I haven't even been there since like September when I saw Love Streams, and that was phenomenal. But there's just so many other places. Like I said, there's so many other cool places here. Not a whole lot of other places that are showing stuff on film, but are just having great programming. And yeah, so I'm just like, that makes me happy. That makes me happy seeing that that's still alive, and that I can feel a little bit more alive every time I go to something like that. Um, I'm like always forgetting about the things that I'm like actually like going to say. In retrospect, and it always makes me like a little bit irritated at first when I don't think of the thing that like I was thinking yesterday that like I have to say in the video today. And I think right now I'm like, okay, I just have to realize that like this is a process that um, really only begins and ends when I press record and when I press export on the edit, um, not so much in the conception. And yeah, I just think that that brings like a lot of it like pulls away a lot of false expectations, I think, when making these. And all right.